Hey, happy what is left of Tuesday, March 21st. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center semi-overnighter. Got to get my head straight, make sure I'm giving you the right show because each show that I do has a different purpose and a different length. Tonight is an overnighter. It's probably going to be about maybe an hour, 15 hour and a half, give or take, depending on what kind of things you guys have to talk about. I want to make sure everybody can hear me because this is night 2 of my cat ear experience. So let's test everything out. Testing. Yep, everything is nice and clear. I really do like the way these sound. I don't know if I'll be able to practically wear them when I stream at the store, but here at the house where the acoustics are a lot different, I like the way it sounds. I'm going to test them out one of the shows that we do at the store to see if I can replicate that. But I also am going to be messing around with some acoustics in both places so that wherever I stream, I don't sound like I'm in, an echo chamber. So, all right. So, how you doing, Flash Green? First time seeing your name up there. Welcome to the club. Hit like and subscribe, by the way, not only to myself, which is at youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center, but if you are watching me on the Point Diction Lounge, do the same here as well. So, how you doing, Spider-Man? Jacob McKenzie? No. Let me check. Nope, I'm here. I'm good. Yeah, it took me a while to get on because I was doing sound checks there. Because lately we've been having problems with StreamYard, so I've been running those little itty bitty test things that you can do to make sure that you are uh so that you guys can hear it. Instead of me, trying to do it on the fly. So that's why it probably took me a little bit longer to get up there. Jacob, how you doing? Let's see, JR Survey. So, the Rock Shazam piece today. Thoughts? I think it's pretty transparent to hit. Oh, it's definitely a hit piece. It's definitely a hit piece, and it's stupid. Because let's say that everything that they say was true, that he nixed all this and that, and he didn't want the Justice Society in there, and he didn't want a cameo in Shazam, and he didn't want, Shazam cameoing, and them. Let's just say all this is true. And granted, it comes from a trade, so you can take that for what it is. So what? So what? What if he had just piggybacked had Shazam piggyback on Black Adam and Black Adam piggyback on The Rock, and everything else. What if they were just, and I keep hearing people say, how can you do a Shazam movie without Black Adam, and how can you do Black Adam without Shazam? What if they had done that? Let's just say that, he just said yes to everything. The movie makes maybe what, 100,000 more, if that much. All right, I'm going to say this over and over again, and I guess like I said, people just don't get this, but I don't understand why. I'm going to put an analogy together. So you and I say you guys are with me, right? We're all geeks. We're all losers, basically. Well, we're not, but let's just say we're outside of a club, right? A club with all the hot chicks and all the A-listers and all the hot guys in there with the really tight shirts, and they're drinking fine wine and they're eating tri-tip. They're doing all this stuff, and it's an exclusive club, right? All right. I'm outside and I'm a C-lister. You're with me. You're a C-lister too, right? So say you're a C-lister. We're both C-listers. I'm not going to help you get in the club. I'm a C-lister. They're not letting us in. Nobody's going to care about us. You, in your C-list status, are not going to help me get in the club. C-listers don't help C-listers elevate. All right. Now, what's going to get us into that exclusive club past the bouncer? An A-lister. All right. An A-lister can come along and tell the bouncer, those guys are with me. Don't mind the dress code. Don't mind they don't fit in. Those guys are with me. Bouncer's going to be like, oh, sure. A-lister's going to flip them a 50 or 100, whatever, and we're in the club. All right. Shazam and Black Adam are those C-listers that are on the other side of that velvet rope that are not getting in. All right. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman to an extent are the A-listers that are getting you in. All right. So Justice Society, who nobody knew who the hell was, being in Shazam, Fury of the Gods, or Black Adam being in Shazam, Fury of the Gods, or Black Adam being in any of the Shazam movies wasn't going to do one damn thing. If people weren't willing to invest into the B-lister character that Black Adam is, even with The Rock at the helm, they weren't going to follow that to another movie. You have two movies that basically are going to roughly, if Shazam Fury of the Gods is lucky, going to make the same amount of money. All right? B-listers don't get other B-listers into the club. They follow the A-lister in. And that's what DC Films has done. They have made it too easy to disregard their product by holding back on the A-listers. All right? The general audience wants Superman. The general audience wants Batman. And not a standalone Batman. They'll go see that. We'll go see that. But they want the Batman that interacts with Superman. All right? That's what they want. And now everybody maligns BVS. BVS made $871 million. If you combine both Shazam movies and Black Adam movies, I think they barely even approached that. So the article I thought was stupid because it came off as like a lot of these trades recently have just come off at hit pieces. You can clearly sense motives in these articles. And they bring up things that, okay, even if they were true, who cares? It wasn't going to make a difference. Black Adam's presence in Shazam wasn't going to boost Shazam. Shazam's appearance in Black Adam or them dancing together on big screen was not going to boost either movie. Both movies included C-list characters that no one in the general audience can make a connection to. Your road to somebody making a connection to Black Adam or Shazam is through Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. All right. So the article was I read it and I'm like, I mean, even if it was true, that's when an article is a waste of my time. Because even if it was true, it didn't mean anything. Even if you say everything in that article, and it was by the Wrap, I think, even if you say everything in that article is true, so what? You missed out on less than $100,000, maybe. All right. The Rock being anywhere near Shazam was not going to save Shazam: Fury of the Gods. All right. Shazam being in Black Adam was not going to move Black Adam up to any respectable stratosphere. All right. People keep moving past the cardinal original sin of these three movies to begin with, is they never should have been made when they were made. You do not put derivative characters in the forefront unless you have plans for the A-list characters. They did all of these movies, whether it be Black Adam, Shazam, the original one in 2019, and the one that just got released now, and which I had fun with Black Adam, and I absolutely loved both Shazam movies. They did an absolute disservice to these films by putting these films out without a plan for Superman, without a plan for Batman, without a plan for Green Lantern, without a plan for Wonder Woman, without a decent plan for Aquaman other than that sequel. All right. You put all the weight of the company on characters that the general public just is not going to pull out their wallet for. That includes the Suicide Squad. That includes Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, Immaculate Reception, or whatever the hell. That includes all of that. All right. And then you were on your way to putting out Batgirl. So it just, you should have, if we're going to do an article or we're going to do a piece, let's expand the scope and let's look at the entire situation. Because if you look at the entire situation from 30,000 feet, whatever The Rock did, say, didn't do, refused to do is meaningless in the long scheme of things. There was leadership at these companies, that should have been able to control all of this. Why aren't we talking about the leadership that said yes to some crazy stuff and no to things that made sense? Why are we letting those guys off scot-free? This was their company. They're the ones that were signing checks. They were the ones that were saying, yes, you can do this movie. Yes, we'll increase this budget. Yes, you can do this. They were the ones sitting in these movies as they were being made. Dailies, producers, studio heads are supposed to be sitting watching these movies as they come together. And they were okay with everything that went along with Black Adam. They were okay with everything that went along with all these things. All right, up to and including saying yes, you can make these movies. So because that's where the meeting should have started and stopped. Whoever came into the corner office and said, "Here's my concept for a Black Adam movie. Here's my concept for Shazam. Here's my concept for a Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Here's my concept for Blue Beetle, Wonder Twins, and Batgirl. Any of these other things should have been immediately responded to. Okay, cool. I'll put this right here. Have a seat. What's your plan for Superman? I haven't seen Superman on a big screen in 5 years. What are we doing with that? Where's my DCU Batman? I haven't seen that in nearly almost the same amount of time. I need a better Wonder Woman sequel. That one left a bad taste in people's mouths. Why is it taking so long to get Aquaman? It's going to be 5 years when we see Aquaman again. Where's Green Lantern? Why don't we have the Green Lantern? Why aren't we knee deep in a Green Lantern situation? Where's that at? And before I say yes to any of the B-listers, before I even give them oxygen to even to go forward with that, I need answers to those questions. Now, once I get answers to those questions, like I said last night, now we start interweaving the Blue Beetles into the situation. Now we start working in the Shazams into that situation. Once we start working in the Black Adams, because now we have a situation that we can sell. They didn't do that. That's what the article should have been about, or any article that's going to place blame. If you're trying to place blame on The Rock or any individual that wasn't a CEO or a studio head, then that's just absurd. I mean, that's just silly. Whether you like The Rock or not, The Rock wasn't running Warner Brothers. The Rock didn't say yes. The Rock didn't greenlight his own movie. It's the same thing with Shazam. And I love the Shazam movies, but they are suffering under disorganization and bad management, even though that management is gone. This is what it means to keep people around longer than they should be, because the damage that those guys did is carrying over, and it's going to carry over for years. But we're still talking about The Rock. Once again, let's concede that everything that people hated about The Rock in this situation is true. It didn't mean anything. I could see if people were like walking around with Black Adam shirts and they were like, wow, Black Adam, holy cow, I can't wait for another Black Adam movie. Wow, you hear about Black Adam? He's getting a movie. I could see if the public was like, wow, then I would be like, yeah, go ahead and put him in everything you can. But we promoted that movie. It's Black Adam. And I told you guys, even as we pushed the hell out of that movie, the biggest hurdle that Black Adam and Shazam have, more than anything else anyone wants to pull out of their ass, is the fact that they are Black Adam and Shazam. That is it. That is it. All right. You just couldn't. It was just a bad business model. And I heard people telling me about, well, Marvel, by that notion, that Marvel would never have got off the ground in 2008. Okay, A, that's a stupid ass comparison, and B, Marvel used the highest tier characters that they had under their control in 2008. Remember, they didn't have the rights to Fantastic Four or X-Men, so they went with. By the way, the Avengers are not P-listers; they are high top tier characters. They're a premier Marvel property. But they went with the highest tier characters that they had, and they gave you a steady diet of those. Then you started getting some of the lower tier characters in there. Then you started getting things like Guardians of the Galaxy. But they established their alphas, their A-listers first. And without that establishment, none of those movies that weren't Captain America, Iron Man, or Thor would have had a chance in hell. That's what DC needed to do. That's the only thing that I think they needed to copy from them. So, like I said, it's just people have recency bias. They just seem to remember the last few months of how things rolled out. Why aren't we revisiting the last 5 to 7 years? Shazam's failure didn't begin last week when it was released. Shazam's failure began 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I thought the article was, like I said, the only people, like I said, a lot of people who are predisposed to hate The Rock for whatever reason were going to read what into that article didn't. I don't feel one way or the other. And like I said, even if I believe everything in that article is true, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you're focusing on, if you want to find out why movies like Black Adam and Shazam didn't do well, you need to do a history lesson and go back and stop letting people off the hook for doing what they did. So yeah, I read the article. I thought it was silly, and I just think that, like I said, I don't need to defend The Rock. The Rock's a billionaire. The Rock is laughing at the people that are I mean, he's going to go to sleep in a bed of money. So, but at the same time, we never seem to identify what the problem with DC films has been. Every time we strike out, we want to blame Snyder fans. We want to blame The Rock. Well, we never put the cross right on the people who have butchered this situation, and then we forget that they've done it. We forget that the same people who said yes to a lot of this stuff was the same people that were going to put Wonder Twins on the screen or on HBO Max. All right, these guys didn't have a plan, and the people who worked on Black Adam and the 2 Shazam movies paid for that. Regardless of what you think about The Rock's ego, if you're running your show as a studio head, you're running your show, not The Rock. The Rock comes to you with a $260 million budget and you don't think that's going to be good for the company, you don't think that IP, or you don't have the common sense to know that IP is probably not going to justify that, and you don't say no, that's on you. That's not on The Rock. The Rock's going to take everything you give him. It's up to you as a studio head not to give it to him. All right. If somebody comes to you with a concept of some character that the general public hasn't heard of, and you don't think it's right for your company right now, you as the studio head and as executive say no, not yet. All right. Where's the blame to that guy? Where are those people? And granted, most of them are gone. And maybe it's because the Rock and every, clear, he's the clearest target because he's the only one you can remember. But that doesn't make it right. I mean, there's, and when as far as what Zachary Levi says, I mean, he 100% he may be right, but once again, he's trying to push a movie that if you were doing good dollars and cents business, not even made. Of course, he's not going to come out and say, you know what, no one knows who my character is as far as enough people to justify, its spot on our schedule. He's not going to say that. Everybody's blaming everybody else. You know what? If I'm in the corner office and I'm not, your movie doesn't even get made until I have a plan for Superman, because I'm basically screwing you. I'm screwing everybody who put all that hard work into these 3 movies by throwing these movies out there in the middle of a pond and hoping they float without having an infrastructure of an entire universe to push them. So yeah, that article but I've steeled myself when it comes to these trades. I know everybody uses them as the Bible. I don't have to. I'm not saying that they're lying. I am saying one of 2 things. They put out stuff that even if it's true, who cares? And B, I always, when I read these things, and then you end up finding out that yeah, some of it was true and the rest of it was left out. That's just as good as listening to some of these scoopers. So all right. So yeah, I answered that. And like I said, as far as Zachary Levi, I like Zachary Levi, but this isn't a good look, dude. I mean, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. It didn't work out for reasons that were beyond your control. I don't see the reason for him to be going after anybody right now. So, you have thought on John Wick 4 tracking to earn 150 million, the film's worldwide opening weekend, the biggest ever for the franchise. Yeah, they've done everything they needed to do to build that franchise. And now they are reaping the benefits. And I've heard from everybody who we sent to there that they had a great time. So I'm happy for Keanu Reeves. William, the Flash movie has been rated PG for sequences of violent action, some strong language, and partial nudity. Partial nudity? Wonder what partial nudity is going to be in the Flash. Oh, baby. I guess technically, if I know he's catching babies at some point. The only other thing I could see was in Supergirl's wearing that thing, that gown, that medical gown, but I don't think they're going to show anything there. Um, yeah, that's weird. How you doing, Rhea? Hold on, let me check my sound real quick, guys. Hold on, let me go. Unmuting myself. Let's see. All right, I think I might answer this. Yeah, so I answered this in bulk pretty much a couple of seconds ago, but I'm on a delay. But yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. So say if this is true. So what? And I like those characters, but you guys got to understand that all these pundits, including myself, we're bouncing our opinions off of a small YouTube screen. We're not the people making the decision to rake out the money to go see these characters. And people want event level movies with familiar IPs. That is where your money is. That's why all these studios pay all this money out for franchises and IPs, because they are a consistent stream of money. All right. And it's familiar IPs. Black Adam is not a familiar IP. The Justice Society is a familiar IP with me and you all. We're geeks. We're supposed to know this stuff. But it's not going to resonate with Joe Average, who makes up the bulk of the audience. They don't know who Hawkman is. And I loved Hawkman in this movie. He was great. I like the Justice Society. I want to see more of the Justice Society. But they shouldn't have been coming out, without a Justice League out. I mean, they shouldn't be. I shouldn't be seeing these type of characters out there unless you have a plan to interweave them into your main universe. What they did is they ran away from Cavill's Superman. They ran away from Ben Affleck's Batman and tried to lie and say it wasn't successful. But I'm sorry. I bet you're looking at those numbers now and wishing you had them. So, hi, Rhea, my all-night lady. Hope to see you in Vegas for Trauma. William, we are semi-losers. Well, you know what I mean, though. It's like me and you, Darcipio, we're not getting each other into the club unless you got some connections I don't know about and I have connections you don't know about. But if we're two nerds, I'm wearing my Shazam shirt and one of my wrestling belts or something like that. We are total geeks. We ain't getting past that 300-pound bouncer without some cool kid, which would be Superman, coming in and saying, they're with me, you're letting him in, and that's it. Then we get in. And we don't go anywhere in that club without him. And we when we're in that club, we say we're with Superman. See the guy with the big red S? Right? I'm wearing my Shazam shirt. You're wearing a Black Adam shirt. And nobody knows who we are. All right? But they know who the guy we came in with is. His friend Batman's at the bar. All right? So us C-listers are not helping. We're not elevating each other in the club unless we put each other on our shoulders and we climb through the back of the bathroom window. But we're not getting in the front door. And that's what Shazam and that's what Black Adam are. All right. And people, like I said, it drives me crazy. Because I'm having promoted. You saw what we did to promote Black Adam. You saw what we did when we promoted Shazam. I dressed up from head to toe, phone charger and all, pushing the hell out of that movie. And the main thing I ran up against in both instances, actually 3 instances, is the fact that the familiarization of the characters just isn't there to make that investment. And you're telling people, families of 4 in most cases, to make an investment of an IP they just don't know or connect with. And when they were doing it with Marvel, they were doing it with not even as Z-listers. Iron Man's pretty big, even if the general populace. But once again, you had better management. When they decided that they were going to do Iron Man, they weren't saying, well, if Iron Man doesn't make $1 billion, we're going to scrap everything. No. They stuck with their plan. Iron Man barely broke 400 million, but they stuck with their plan and they kept going. None of those movies made $1 billion until 2012, 4 years into it, I think, right? With the Avengers movie, 2012. They didn't scrap their previous movies because of that. And they weren't all critically acclaimed sometimes. There's a lot of people who think the first Thor movie is not all that great, but they went and saw it. So the one thing that Marvel done and to this day for a lot, and up until recently, but for the most part, they had their plan and they stuck with it. That's the critical difference between DC and Marvel is having a plan and sticking with it, and not being a pussy and flinching just because some online fanboys or some critics say that this is that. You follow your box office and you don't set stupid ass expectations. That's another thing that Marvel did not do, is they didn't set stupid ass expectations. They listened to the people who were making the movies, and that's how they got to where they were, which is the exact opposite of what these guys did. So yeah. Yes, be sure to sub to me. Yeah, get me so I can monetize and retire. Like I said, I'm doing it the slow way. Like I said, there's a lot of people who will get thousands and thousands and thousands of views of content, and more power to them. I try to keep it straight up information. We try not to get too crazy, and I know there's a lot of things that I could have done, especially the last 2 or 3 weeks, that could have gotten me a whole bunch of subscribers, but I just didn't want to do it that way. So, and that's not knocking how other people do it. It's just that I want to create a space where I would show up to. So, all right, I think it would have helped if Shazam and The Rock was in it. Nope. I might have watched Shazam. I didn't. I won't. But I saw Black Adam. Okay, it made a difference among how many people, but not enough to have even justified it. If like I said, if there's a concert with an unknown artist and an unknown artist is opening for that guy, I'm still not going to see him because I don't know who any of those guys are. But if it's the Stones and no unknown guys there, I'm going to go see it. It's just power of association, man. The Rock is stupid for vetoed a post-credit trade for Shazam that would have included Aldous Hodge, Hawkman. He didn't see any value in it, and to be honest with you, neither do I. Would it have been cool? Yeah, maybe. But he knew, and I knew, and everybody knew that none of that was going to move the needle for Black Adam. None of that was going to move the needle for Shazam. I mean, WBD is to blame for putting Shazam 2 between Ant-Man 2 and John Wick for Shazam as a B-list character. I think WBD is to blame for greenlighting this movie without having Superman or Batman on the schedule. If you have your movies out there and they're supporting the movie, if you have your two A-listers in the year and they're supporting, they're in the vicinity of your B-lister, rising tide lifts all ships. That momentum is everything. And they just didn't have any. Even with John Wick, even with all these movies out, they didn't even have enough of their own movies out to make any difference. And even you could have John Wick, you could have Ant-Man 2, it wouldn't have mattered. If you'd had a Superman leading into a Shazam, leading into a Black Adam, leading into whatever else, that wave doesn't stop until you stop it. Do not underestimate the power of momentum. That being slingshotted into that next movie is important. That's where Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness made a lot of its revenue, is because it was catapulted from Spider-Man No Way Home. That rolling momentum is what people want. When people see something they like, they want more, but they want recognizable IPs. And what DC has put out the last 5 years, for the most part, has not been it. That's the problem. I hear you, I just disagree. The Rock would have made Shazam more interesting and worthy of a lot more views. It would have gotten some more views, but nothing significant. Nothing to warrant it not happening or not. I mean, if like I said, those characters, none of those characters involved were going to elevate each other. Yeah, would it have made for an interesting story? Sure, maybe. But if I'm him and I see that it's not gonna make that much of a difference, and I already got my story in play, I mean, I can't blame him. Now, the studio head should have said, no, you're putting him in. And I guess he had veto power over certain things. Once again, who wrote that contract? See what I mean? It all goes back to management. Hey, gang, we are Shazams, Black Adams, and the Eternals of the world. Thanks. So, hey, and guess what? Unless an A-lister walks up and recognizes us, we're standing outside the club. We can take selfies outside of the club because we ain't getting in. Nah, it's still Shazam's production fault for having a dull looking movie. If The Rock didn't want to be in it, they could have picked more interesting. Well, it's hard. I like the villain in Shazam, and I did like the villains in Fury of the Gods. But like I said, it's just a matter of you got to pick your spots. You could have kept Shazam and Black Adam and Shazam Fury of the Gods as is, not changed a thing. And you could have made them a lot more successful by having your universe formed up, by having your universe and the cohesiveness of your universe already worked out, and having those movies to where you're jumping from one hit to another. You're jumping from a Superman to a B-lister. You're jumping from a B-lister to another A-lister. You're going back and forth, and you're interweaving your A's and your B's together to the point where they are must-see cinema, no matter who's in them. You can make Shazam and Black Adam must-see cinema if you're handling your universe right. They didn't. So that's where your failure was. Whew, it's raining here in Vegas. All right, The Rock didn't allow Zachary Levi to cameo in a post-credit scene for Black Adam, which is dumb. He always fights Shazam. At least have 2 post-credit scenes. Okay, I'm going to play devil advocate, Jacob. Who would have cared besides us? And we don't move the needle in regards to how making a blockbuster or not. Outside of us, 3%, who would have cared? Even if he did, who would have cared? The boobies were both going to bomb no matter what. One movie might have made a little bit more than the other, but they're both going to struggle to make $400 million. We know that these characters fight each other all the time, but the majority of the people who are going to see these comic book movies have not and may never pick up a comic book, unfortunately. So us knowing the history of Black Adam and Shazam is not going to do anything when it's not us that make up the backbone of the revenue. So talk about C-listers. Shazam effectively got a trilogy. No A-lister came close. No solo Batman. No, this is what you're saying here is one of the main problems. So I'm glad you put this in, Spider-Man. Talk about C-listers. Shazam effectively got a trilogy. No A-listers came close. No Superman, no solo Batman. No Wonder Woman trilogy. Only one Supes movie. Zack Snyder got a trilogy and on a technicality. Yeah. All Zach was working with A-listers. And they ran away. We went a different direction. I'm like, okay, great. You screwed up plan A without having a plan B. That's like jumping out of a airplane that you think is efficient without a parachute. You deserve to splatter on the ground. If you had such a problem with what Zach was doing, you didn't think it was enough. You didn't think it was right. Okay, great. Fine. You pull the plug and you plug in something else, but they had nothing to plug in. Nothing to plug in. So that's management. Henry Cavill should be MCU Wolverine. It's too tall, but yeah, this right here, dude. Where are we at in the stream? We are at. All right, I'm going to timestamp this because this is definitely you hit the nail. You hit it right on the nail, man. Henry Cavill should be. I guess Harley got a trilogy too. DC priorities don't never mingle. Yeah, we've seen more Harcourt than we have Clark Kent. I've seen more of Viola Davis's character, Amanda Waller, than I have Batman, the DCU Batman. That's a problem, and you're right. The priorities, because they mismanage their priorities, that's why we're at where we're at with Shazam. That's why we were at where we're at with Shazam: Fear of the Gods. That's why we were at where we're at with Black Adam. And most of those movies deserved a better outcome. Shazam: Fear of the Gods is a really good movie. I really hope that the second week that you guys see it based on the reviews from fans, because it's a really good movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I wish more people would have seen the original Shazam. But here's the thing about priorities. Shazam didn't even break $400 million. And because that management at that time wanted to validate their decision making, they greenlit another one. It's the same thing with Peacemaker. All right. Regardless of the fact that Peacemaker was a success, even before they were going to push Peacemaker no matter what, whether it was a success or not, because they basically greenlit it before they knew what the Suicide Squad was going to do. So their reasoning for not continuing with the original ideas with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman was because they were disappointing. But they greenlit a whole bunch of shit based on some very, very mediocre to underperforming box offices. So this is on them. Hamada's plan was to have a DCU where Batgirl and Supergirl were talking over Batman and Superman's roles, taking over Batman and Superman's roles, and Superman through JJ. Yeah, that's just, I can't even finish reading it. It was just so disorganized. That was a horrible plan, by the way. Rhea, William, in regards to the Wonder Woman and Superman cameos being leveraged for marketing, yes, I was a little too late. Superman should have been. It goes back to I hate to keep kicking a dead horse, but it goes back to management. Why in the hell did it take 6 years to get Superman back on the screen? And then when I hear it's because Hamada wanted to go with his own Superman, a different Superman, so he kept saying no. I'm like, dude, you had 5 years. All right. Once again, you had no business. Hamada, Sarnoff, Emmerich, Ishihara had no business pulling the plug on what was if they had nothing to put in its place. You can not like and be disappointed all you want to. But if your stupid ass doesn't have a plan B that is at least better than the plan A, or a plan, in their case, a plan B at all, then you shut the hell up and just continue to take the money. They wrecked something that was escalating because they thought it was disappointing. Critics and all this and fanboys on tiny little YouTube screens said it was disappointing with nothing to put in its place. So whose fault is it that we didn't have a recognizable Superman the last 5 years? Is that The Rock? Did The Rock take Cavill out of commission? No. Whose fault is it that it took? What was Aquaman was what 2018? I remember. I think 2018 maybe. It's 2023. Whose fault is it that it took The Flash so long to get out? All right. So we take these characters and we try to put them in a cameo and want people to shell out cash for something that they know is a cameo. Whereas if you've been managing your company right, you could have had Superman all over Black Adam. Not only would, if you would have been managing the company right and Superman would have been in Superman movies and Justice League movies, he would have been a much more valuable commodity to even be in a Black Adam movie. Instead, you put a Superman that people haven't seen in 5 years with a 2-minute cameo where the major source of attraction is a IP that no one knows of. Not only was it too little too late, it was just, like I said, those failures didn't just start people not seeing those movies. Failures began in the conceptual phase and every mistake that they made in the last 5-6 years. Unless you had a better Superman option, you needed to shut the hell up and let the one that we had go forward. Unless you're going to come in here and give me a better Superman story, then I don't want to hear about you pulling the one we had. Unless you had a better Justice League story, I don't need to. And you maybe, like I said, if you'd have come and you said, you know what, we're blowing this up. We don't like where Zach's going with this. We got this. We're going to blow your socks off. You didn't. Not only did you not, you gave us a horrible movie. And from that point, you gave us Birds of Prey. All right. You gave us another Shazam movie, or 2 Shazam movies and a Black Adam movie and a Suicide Squad movie. That was your plan B. That was not a good plan. And every movie that came out paid for those decision makings. So there was really nothing to market. If you'd have had Superman on the screen, during that 5-year period, he would have been a much more valuable asset to lift that movie up. And not only would it just have been a cameo, you could have had him in the movie, which is what he wanted to begin with. People blame The Rock for all this and that, but The Rock wanted him in the movie. The Rock wanted to fight him in the movie. Regardless of the quality of the movie, that would have done good money. But so, like I said, we want to blame The Rock and write hit articles for The Rock. On that same paragraph, why don't we write a hit article about the people who made the decision to move on from Cavill, but where did they go? If you're going to move on from somewhere, you need to be going somewhere. And it shouldn't take you 5 years to get there. That's a problem. John Stewart, Hal Jordan, I'll take a Green Lantern, like I said. I just get me the Green Lantern. How you doing, Larry? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I dig it, man. Took me a few songs to roll with it to get that pacing in my head, and I'm gonna have to take and listen to 3 or 4 more. I'm gonna give you a when we do our Saturday night show, I'm gonna give you a review of it. It's hard to give a review of music because you can't play it, but I thank you for turning me on to them. I got about 3 songs I listened to earlier this morning, and I like I said, the first one, second 2 were really blasting. So thank you for bringing that up, and I will give you. I want to get Armando on the hook with us this Saturday, because I want to see if he's listened to them too and see what he thinks. And we'll just do a we'll just do a on in show review of. I'm going to pick 3 songs, and then I'm going to compare them to what the influences I think that they derive from, and see, Larry, if you agree. I don't think CEO makes that decision. Do they? They have leadership over the franchise division. No, the CEO definitely makes those decisions. So right now, David Zaslav is the studio head. He's the boss. Walter Hamada was the DC Films head, but his boss was Toby Emmerich. So those 2 individuals had all the say-so in the world. Limited with Hamada, but complete with Toby Emmerich. All right, so not fan. What's up, bro? Everybody saying hi to each other. Darcipio, okay, all right, cool. So, all right, Anthony Manzano, what are your thoughts about Marvel firing versus Victoria Alonso, and who you think might take her? I see a lot of people probably moving out of the Star Wars division and the Marvel division because they're trying to capture that success that they had in the Infinity Saga, and I don't think they're ever going to get that back. I still think there are going to be a lot of solid Marvel movies, but like I said, it's once you show me that hand, it's really. I'm not going to say the MCU is a one-trick pony, but until I see another trick, it's going to be like, what's your next thing? And now they're methodically building up to something. And remember how long it took for them to get to the Infinity Saga and to get to where you even saw Thanos being a major part into it. That took a lot of time. And I just think right now with once you've gotten to that level, people don't want to come back down again. So, and they're having to struggle with that right now. I don't know who they're going to get to replace her, to be honest with you. Justice League 2017 damaged the reputation of Cavill Superman and Ben's Batman, so WB execs panicked. Jeff Johns and John Berg were fired and Zamato was brought in. So you fire those guys are horrible. And to be fair with Hamada should have never been hired for that position. That just wasn't his thing. Gunn is a good hire. I just wish it was at a better time, but Hamada was not, and the mission that they bought Hamada in for, to cut budgets and make low budget type stuff, was gonna fail from the moment it came out of their lips. So Hamada is not a bad person. I don't know him from Adam, but I just don't think he was the right person for the job. I don't think he had a total grasp on the imagination that was needed to move things forward. And then, like I said, the people who hired Hamada didn't have that vision either. And once again, bad decisions aren't just things that come out of a microwave. You taste it, it tastes like crap, and you throw it away. Bad decisions when you come to studios, these linger. The decisions that crippled Shazam, Black Adam, and Fury of the Gods are decisions that were 6 years ago. All right, the erosion of faith in this product started when you put out that version of Justice League and double down on it. You know, that's so everybody can blame and point fingers. Levi can point to this guy, LaRock can point to that guy, and the Rap and all these other trades can point to everybody. You need to point back to 2017 and all the decisions that came in that year and going forward. That's your article. That's a whole damn book. Damon Bobo, how you doing? By the way, guys, I'm trying not to move as much because this chair that I paid a lot of money from squeaks a lot. So I ordered a new. I'm having this chair replaced because from the company I bought it from, and they're actually replacing this chair to hopefully it doesn't squeak. Because somebody actually made a comment. They enjoyed the show, but that squeaking, yeah, it's driving me crazy too. So I'm gonna replace this chair. So I'm not even gonna let you guys know when I do it, so that you can be like, hey, the squeaking's gone. So there you go. Oh, hey, I made it. I figured you were streamline time for 3 a.m. Eastern. Hey, I do what I can, man. Fun. This is what Zach was doing, introducing the other lower characters like Martian Manhunter, Deathstroke, Green Lantern with the main IP characters. They should have stayed with that. They should, yeah. If they would have shown the backbone to stand behind their creator, no matter who it was, they would have a lot more credibility now. What they did in regards to Zack Snyder is resonating right now to what's going on now. It is having a reverberating effect. Those dumb, stupid ass decisions that they made after BVS going into Justice League are still causing damage right now. And to be honest with you, they're going to cause James Gunn damage too. All right. The erosion of faith in product is not something that a new guy can cure all the time. So good luck, everybody. Yeah, he really needs to be honest with you. I know he's going through a lot, but I think he should get off of social media for a little bit. Question: what are your thoughts on some Henry Cavill fans turning on James Gunn, calling him a liar, saying that he promised that he was going to be back? He never promised anything. They're going based off of what his predecessors were going to do with Cavill, and they were going to go forward with Cavill. That wasn't a lie. That was reality until Zaslav hired Gunn. Yeah, we didn't get any of that. No. A black Superman may be good business, but a black Clark Kent is not. You have to understand that the time and era and place that Superman came up through and where the black experience was at that time. You are literally changing the DNA of the character when you do that. And even if you modernize it, it's going to change the story of Superman to the point where you may as well just do something completely different to begin with. Question on James Gunn's Twitter on Arby's on Mouth doing the reveal of DC Slate. Did he promise the fans if he was going to bring back? No, he never said that. I never saw that announcement. Whoa, partial nudity. Just going to see the Flash now. I can't think of what it is. I can't think of who's. I can't. I mean, like you could if you go watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, you see Murdoch's butt. So technically, I think that's partial nudity, but it's like off of a ghoulish looking thing. I don't know. I'm not going to see it for that. But the only thing I can think of is maybe the babies that he's tossing around. I don't know if they even consider that. Or when Sasha Kaye is wearing that gown. If it's like a regular hospital gown, maybe you see something there or something through. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like Mr. Skinworthy or anything. It's probably like 2 seconds or something, whatever it is. A lot of times they put partial nudity because there is something in there that is not really significant. I doubt anything partial nudity in the Flash is going to be significant. This is not the kind of audience it's going for. So haven't seen the first one, and with what everyone is saying about Fear of the Gods, I'm 50-50 on whether I think you should go see it. I enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun with it. Partial nudity in a film called The Flash. Okay, I'll see myself. Got it. Very hilarious. Earth calling Larry. Partial nudity might be Supergirl held captive. That's what I'm thinking. In that, if you look at the trailer, she's wearing one of those flimsy gowns that have the opening in the back. That's probably it. And it's probably like not even something that you can see, but they have to state it in there because some parent will be like, "You didn't warn me about so-and-so." So it's probably nothing. All right. Where on James Gunn's Twitter or out of his own mouth during the DC sleep removal did he promise that he was going to bring back Cable? I don't see any of it. No, he did not. He did not. He did not. All right, I'm going to skip to some of these that you guys are talking about. All right, give Paramount Pictures all the praise for the Avengers lead up. Iron Man 1 and 2, Thor, Captain America, First Avengers. But yeah, those actually were a few of them. Yeah. Like I said, they did a good job of what they had, but people got to realize that, it wasn't some, ingenious super plan. I mean, it was a good plan, but they didn't have any other IPs that they could use that were top tier. Fantastic Four, at the time the MCU was started, the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and X-Men all belonged to Fox because Marvel was nearly bankrupt, and they sold those IPs to people for hard cash. So they used the remaining one that they had left, and they told the story of the founding of the Avengers, which is was you started with mainly the characters, give or take, Ant-Man and the Wasp weren't there, and they should have been, but they decided to use Black Widow instead, and Captain America wasn't a founding Avenger. He was there at Avengers 4, or Avengers issue number 4 after they found them in the ice. But they did what they had to do to get their universe started. What people need to understand is what worked for Marvel wouldn't necessarily work content-wise for DC. You can use the structure of what they did, but in general, DC had to be DC, and none of those guys could recognize that. I did enjoy Black Adam. If it gets approval for more trilogy, I'm down for it. Like I said, I had fun with it. It wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but I had fun. Wait, your argument is there's no cohesive universe set up for these characters, so vetoing other character from showing up in the credit. No cohesive universe set up with alphas. Like I just said, C-listers don't help C-listers. I don't care how many C-listers come together, we're not getting in the club. The only way we're getting in the club is if there's enough of us to bum rush the bodyguard, and then we're probably all going to get our asses kicked and arrested. So when I mean cohesive universe, Superman connected to Black Adam connected to Wonder Woman, Shazam, Superman, blah, blah, blah. That. All right? Not, green, a cameo from another C-lister ain't going to do shit. In that universe that they were building, full of people that no one knew who the hell they were. The only thing that the universe would have had a chance in catching fire was if Superman was in it. He tried for 6 years to get Superman in there. He took what he could get in the cameo. So, no, my argument is sound for it because we're talking about a shared universe amongst B-listers. That ain't going to do nothing. Unless they're sharing that universe with the Big Red S or that Black Bat. Does Shazam situation make you concerned about the Flash's project? No, not at all. Not at all. There's two Batmen in this movie. Well, right there, you're there. You're on it. You got an ancient Batman. Congratulations, nostalgia freaks. You got your ancient Batman, and you got the modern Batman. All right. You don't have Superman, but you got Supergirl, and with that combined with the legit Batman, you can get away with that derivative character because there's two alphas in there. All right. You got the Flash, who is, despite what people want to tell you, is a pretty popular Flash. All right. Insiders and YouTubers might find reasons to hate that Flash, but a lot of people that I talk to and that saw him in Justice League and are looking forward to seeing Ezra Miller as the Flash. They're looking forward to the Flash in general. People know who the Flash is. When I wear my Shazam shirt, people compliment me in the middle of a Shazam movie, wearing a Shazam beanie that I gave you, wearing a Shazam shirt that I gave you, with a Shazam phone charger I gave you, with a Shazam poster that I gave you, and Shazam movie theater that I got you into, you're going to walk up to me and compliment me on my Flash shirt. And that happened twice. All right. So people know who the Flash is. So you got 3 IPs in there that are event level IPs. There are no event level IPs in Shazam. Sorry, Zachary Levi. I loved your movie. I loved your first movie. I loved the way I felt when I watched Shazam, the first one back in 2019. I still do. And when he jumps off that building and yells Shazam, and he leaves his mother that abandons him, and he's flying towards the family that embraced him, I love that movie. I love this movie. But there are no event level characters in that movie that are going to pry these hard earned dollars out of people's pockets. The Flash has several. All right, the Flash has several. So no, I am not worried about the Flash's prospects. Zeno, you may have to stick with your channel here to let it grow. Yeah, I mean, I'm simulcasting because I started out on the Point Action Lounge, and I like, that's, a lot of my audience is shares both. But yeah, are you saying I should just do to broadcast just on the Sci-Fi Centers one? There are going to be some things once we revise the channel that I will be doing that with. So keep an eye out for that, Zeno. That's the main problem. Warner Brothers studios in general, when it comes to DC, they just don't stick to their guns, no pun intended, and keep doing what works for DC Vision. Stop chasing Disney. Yeah. Now Rhea's hot. You see, if you've all seen Rhea on her streams, Rhea can get us into the club. Rhea's getting in the club. The bouncer's going to look at Rhea and be like, okay. First of all, they're going to look at Rhea and they're going to look at my geeks that roll with me and be like, okay, there's no way in hell you're with her, but we're going to go ahead and let you in because she said you're with her. So Rhea would be the A-lister that gets this C-lister into the club, into the champagne room. But without somebody like Rhea or Superman or a Cavill or an A-lister, we're gonna be like, wow, the people in the club smell so good from out here. That's where we're gonna be. But yeah, Rhea would get us into the club. All right, and make what you want. That's why they're in the mess. Yes, this mess with Shazam is a cumulative effect that started from 2016. It is now bearing its bad fruit now. But people get on YouTube and are like, let's blame The Rock. I'm blaming The Rock for what, 6 years of bullshit? I'm blaming The Rock for keeping Superman off the screen for 5 years. I'm blaming The Rock because we didn't get a solo movie that was connected to our Batman universe. We never got that. I'm blaming The Rock because movies like The Suicide Squad and Harley Quinn were released. I'm blaming The Rock because Wonder Twins almost made it to the screen before somebody mercifully pulled the plug on that. I'm blaming The Rock because there's a Blue Beetle that's probably going to face the same hurdles that these other movies have got greenlit. I'm blaming The Rock because they almost made a Batgirl movie that, according to every film exec that I've heard, says it was not standard enough to even show anywhere. That's The Rock's fault. So yeah, no, that's management's fault. All right, what's up, Damien? Yeah, I really did like the villain. I did not think I was going to like the villains in Fear of the Gods. I thought they were like, you're making these villains up. I don't know who the hell they are, but given the context and the story that they were telling, those villains fit for me. I might be able to find it because I'm a member. I'm scary. I really hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't. This is beneath him at business point. You are a billionaire. You are, you get yourself aligned with a studio that has decent management. You can do wonders. He's done wonders. I mean, you got everybody is paying the price for this organization. I don't think any of these guys should be online responding. I don't think Zachary Levi should be online responding to it. I don't think any of the stars from Shazam. I understand they feel defensive, but there's nothing that they say that's gonna help the situation. There's nothing that any of the stars or The Rock, if any of these movies, nothing that they can say that is going to give people the proper context and explanation of why DC is where it is now. There's nothing that they can say, so they may as well just say nothing. Okay. Yeah, it's just stop rating right now. All right, here. If Shazam had the feeling of the last Clash of the Titans movie, where you feel the mythology angle, it looks real consequential. Um, it would elevate the movie being them being elevated. I thought the story of Shazam was fine. I thought the story of the mythology that they used was fine. I mean, given the way DC has always used the mythology, they applied it just as they always have. I thought that was fun. The problem is, like I said, is not enough people are going to see that story to be impressed by it. Um, like I said, it's Shazam, and unless you were going, if they would have, they could have done a more serious character. They could have done a character that was a little bit more modern tone, but I still think the box office would have been the same. However, I want to help William grow his channel, so I've decided to only watch it from now. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. We're gonna we're still gonna do live stream stuff here on simulcast, but there is gonna be some things that I think are more suited for the Sci-Fi Center than it would be for here. And that's going to be shorts and stuff that I do, product knowledge stuff that we do, live movie watch stuff. We might do it on both, but there's going to be, you know, now that I've gotten a year under my belt and somewhat know what I'm doing. I would have never been able to get to where I was without the Point Extra Lounge, though. So, um, I'm always going to have a decent amount of content on here. But yes, I will starting in April, starting with the different studio setup that you can't see from here, but I'm working on it. And you've seen the differences and stuff that we're doing at the store. So we're going to be building that channel up. And I got my sister who's good at she handles a lot of this stuff. She's going to be running the channel through and making sure that all my hashtags are right, making sure all my SEOs are right, like all that. I could do that myself. I just don't have a lot of time. And I just never thought I would, a year and a half ago, I'd never thought I'd be on YouTube in this capacity. So now I'm trying to get it to the point where we're gonna put a lot more voltage into the Sci-Fi Center's own channel. We're not gonna neglect Enosh's channel because, like I said, it gave me the platform, and we still have a lot of fun here. But the shape of the Sci-Fi Center's channel is going to change significantly to for those purposes in order to grow. Now that I've made the decision that I do want it to grow, we're going to start working on that and focusing a lot of attention on that. Hey, you guys, fourth, what was it Boston before to see ancient times? I mean, that would have been fun. I just don't think that's what hurt the movie. Question your thoughts on John Campea saying that Marvel's over reliance on having interconnected universe has hurt some of their shows, and they should think about doing more elsewhere. He's right, actually. It was good to establish. They did DC's did backwards. DC has the backwards problem. They never established their shared and had faith in their shared universe. Marvel did, but there's only so much mileage you can get out of it. And here's another thing: with everything being so connected with Marvel, not only do you run like so, if you have a problem with Eternals 2 or Blade, right? If that gets delayed, you have a wave that affects all these other movies, and that might be a problem. You end up delaying a lot of stuff. Two, and this is the one reason why I think that James Gunn and whoever is in charge should make Elseworlds a permanent staple, is because some people that are of high end director and producership want to handle some of these IPs, but they don't want to be involved in a big universe. They have a story in their head that fits a certain actor that they want. That may not be the actor that plays that character that you have right there right now. That has a finite story that works for them. And if you have high end talent like a Spielberg or a Guillermo del Toro or a Denis Villeneuve, are you going to tell them no because what they're doing doesn't fit within your big universe? I love the big universe. I've already said that the shared universe is the revenue generating universe, the momentum, everything it gives you. At the same time, that diversity is good to have. It's good to have the Batman. It's good to have the Joker, but it's also good to have a Superman, a Green Lantern. And people who think, well, that would just make things confusing. Like I said, if your audience is confused, that means the filmmakers and the producers in the studio are idiots. One of the two, either the audience or the studio, are idiots. All right. I don't think that's the case in either of them. So it is your job as a studio to make that narrative work and to make them understand it. But talent doesn't always want to work, even if it's a smaller universe. All right. You may have a high end director that says, you know what, James Gunn's doing is cool, but I don't want to do that. I want to take Batman here. And I think there's a market for it. So if you have an Elseworlds or an alternate universe, you can still make the bulk of your revenue. You still always make the bulk of your revenue with the shared universe, but you can make some money on the side because you're going to be attaching high end talent to individual IPs. So he's right. He may be right for reasons different than I agree with him on, but I do agree with that. All right, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. Even if the movie wouldn't have made more money with The Rock in it, at least it would have died on its own principles of being faithful to the IP. I don't think it would have, but like I said, watching both of those movies, I didn't think their presence. If they were going to meet each other, it should have been on a movie with a much bigger IP scape, like a Justice League movie or a Kingdom Come movie or something like that. On their own, they just don't have enough power for me to care if they ever met each other. And I'm a fan of both IPs. Ooh, let's see. All right, imagine if DC had all these characters like JSA, Shazam, Black Adam, Flash, Cyborgs, Batman, Superman, all in the same track and with the same goals. Wow, yeah, yep. And it hurts. A lot of people that have been with these movies a long time, when you see what the potential of what could have been, and you see what you ended up getting, it just makes you want to walk away sometimes. Question: Kevin Feige and Marvel should start doing more Elseworlds type stuff. I agree, 100%. That answer is yes. All right, what just appeared in the chat? I'm looking at the chat and nothing too crazy. Hey, Jalen Harris, hey William, late again inside. But anyway, saw the new DC Shazam, Black Adam, The Rock drama today, William. I'm tired of this blame game. I just want a good drama-free DC content. Yeah. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that because even though I like James Gunn and his style, if you think that Zack Snyder was divisive, there's half the people love James Gunn, the other half don't, and he's running the studio right now. So I think we're in for a roller coaster. By the way, Zach posting the Jim Lee artwork. I saw that. Might be reading too much into it, but I find it interesting. He used the hashtag Snyder Road. It is well within their power, especially with Jim Lee running it. If I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not saying that I know anything, if we got a Snyderverse comic book that wrapped it up. I know a lot of people would be pissed that we didn't get it in the motion picture, but if I get my ending, if I you give me an ending in a comic book, I'll take it. And then years down the line, if we can revisit it, we will. But I just want an ending. Yeah, I thought he had a lot of good catchphrases in there. All right. Scipio is watching through the Sci-Fi Center, so if he's watching through there, you might not be able to see him. What? There's something going on. Okay, let's see. All right. Oops, why am I on that? I don't even know who Mr. H is. All right, let's see. How you doing, Chappie? All right, just making sure I get everything. Bad management and people being petty, laying blame on The Rock. Come on, I guess nothing's changed in this DC circus. The Flash might make bank. Blue Beetle and Aquaman might show. I think Aquaman. I think the MILF magnet will pull through, but who knows? But I definitely think the Flash has the ability to really set the table. All right. Let's see. How you doing, Zeke? Yeah, like the stream and sub to my channel. And like I said, you're already here at the Point Extra Lounge, most likely. So help us both. Okay. Old management was bad management. Ezra is now older than Henry was during Man of Steel. He's like 22 when he first casted. Let's see. There's definitely. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna like I said, we'll be talking on Saturday about that. Let's see. Yeah. Like I said, hear that? It's a brand new thing. I mean, like came all, it feels great. I got my back massager. There's a spot for my back massager in here. It feels great. It just makes a lot of noise. Yes, I'm gonna watch it as soon as I'm done with this. Without seeing tonight's episode, I think it's Mace Windu. I think Mace Windu somehow, either Mace Windu or Yoda. It's the only ones that I can think of, unless they're going to introduce, a brand new character. Yeah, it's probably some man ass or something, or maybe she's somebody, a female sweating in the nipple. It's going to be something that is technically considered nudity, but it ain't going to be like it ain't going to be nothing huge. I would be shocked if they put something in there, that's partial nudity, but it's probably going to be something that is just going to blink past your eye there. Why is it that the old regime who hired a guy like Zack Snyder, you sit down with him, he showed you his entire plan, and that was your second guess? Because he wasn't. They weren't the ones that hired him. Jeff Robinoff, who was the main guy, without Alan Horn, all those guys, when DC was in 2004, or the people who bought in most of the talent, he bought in Nolan, he bought in all those guys. When it was time to replace a Warner Brothers CEO, he got passed over um, for Kevin Tishiyara, who ended up getting fired for banging one of his subordinates, and that's what happened. So the guys who hired them weren't the guys who got the job. If Jeff Romanoff had gotten that job, it would have been a totally different DC. We would have never had these issues. All right, one of the Flashes can run so Flash and burn his clothes off and be naked behind a bush covering his junk, then puts on the Keaton suit. It could be. Like, this is going to be the big scandal now. What's the nudity in Flash? And it's probably going to be nothing. Or there's a brief implied nudity of Supergirl changing in the Kurtopia tube. Yeah, like a silhouette or something. I think it's the gown she's wearing. If you look at that gown she's wearing in the trailers, it's one of those gowns that when you wear in the hospital, it has the open back to it, and they're not wearing that. That might be it. But it's hard to say. Have you ever gone to WonderCon or Comic Con as a fan or an exhibitor? As a fan, I've been to Comic Con plenty of times. I've never been to WonderCon, but I've been to Comic Con as a fan a bunch of different times. It's a pain in the ass to get in as an exhibitor these days. I don't think I'm going this year either, but who knows? I'm only gonna go if I can go, like if I can get Troma to sponsor me. Otherwise, it's just too much of a pain in the ass because I got a place to stay when I go down there too. It's just a matter of. And another thing when it comes to Comic Con, it's going to be the same thing with going to SnyderCon later on in April. Is I run a business, and leaving it is really hard because when I have a lot to do, and I'm only there limited the time, so as it is right now. So there's just too many things that if there's free time for me, I feel guilty if I'm not at that store getting to where it needs to be. So especially when I have other events like this weekend, instead of like working on my story and getting it to that next level, I have a wrestling event that I got going on, so I'm going to be there all night. Then I stream and all that. So it's just hard for me to leave Vegas and leave the center to go doing stuff. I always feel guilty about being somewhere else when I think I should be there. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, it's just like the Boba Fett series changed into the Mando series. So. All right. Yeah, it's unbelievable stupid how the overseeing Warner Brothers was because you watched Justice League and then you watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's like this was a movie. Yeah, it was just bad. Yeah, rare get us in. Yeah, we're all on the A list. Only if we're with an A lister. Hey Ray, you got a new subscriber. Cool. Glad I could help. All right, I'm just trying to get. Yeah, she says we're all invited. Hey, thanks for the support, Max. How are you doing? I watched a little bit of your stream today on my break, so I was gonna jump in, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it from my phone, so I'm going to make it. Oh, actually, not this weekend, but the next time. The next time I don't have an event on a Saturday night, I'm going to jump into your stream. I miss getting on there and playing your game. The little game where you vote in the movies and the thumbs up, thumbs down. So, because some of those movies are absolutely absurd and they need my input, like Howard the Duck. All right, cool. Hey, Max. So would I. I would love more multiverse. DC created the multiverse, so I think they should be the ones to shepherd it in. What Marvel is doing as far as their multiverse versus what DC does is with their multiverse. It's different if you read closely. X-Men 97 is the only Elseworld stuff Marvel Studios is fully involved in. The rest are like licensed and technically. All right, let's see. I'd actually prefer Kevin Smith to be bought in by Gunn to help create content and build the universe. He made one of the first cinematic universe with View Askew Dogma. I think it's sad DC sad. I think you're saying means sad. I think it's sad DC passed on making Zack's JL into a comic book. Um, I would help. It would help comic sales since DC's Savage Show will definitely, definitely give me a Zack Snyder's Justice League story arc and all the alternate covers that come with it. I would take that like that. I think Zach addressed wanting a graphic novel, art book, or his Justice League stuff, but the peeps in charge changed course, and the idea was scrapped. Apologies for paraphrase. Yeah, that was before Zaslav and them came in. I think Jim Lee is going to have a lot more power and say so if that were to come up again. Right? How much do you want to bet that The Rock and Levi still come back to play their characters after this? Not saying it's high right now, but yeah, I think so. I think if you do a Kingdom Come, you know, the conversations that we're hearing on YouTube and Twitter aren't necessarily the conversations that are being had amongst gentlemen. So, damn it, why did you have to bring up Howard the Duck again, William? I just got over it. Sorry. All right, guys, that's it. Hour and a half, pretty good for the semi overnighter. We will see you. Probably going to see you tomorrow night. Probably going to see you every day this week, just as long as I can keep it limited to an hour. We will be doing our overnighter on Saturday. We'll be doing our Star Trek show on Friday, and then whatever else. Probably the only day I'll take off would be Sunday. But as of now, if I can keep my streams limited to an hour and a half, depending on what type we do, I won't exhaust myself, and I can still get some sleep, and it'll fit into my day. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being the best part of this entire YouTube experience. And we will see you on the other side.